I make it 7 o'clock.
We are now live on YouTube, Chair.
Thank you. Good evening. I'd like to welcome to councillors, officers and members of the public watching on YouTube. This is the Development Control meeting for Covent Borough Council on Wednesday the 7th of October. This is a meeting where the public are allowed to attend, but the only time the public may participate is when they've previously asked to present a petition or a question. We only have one item on the agenda tonight, and the meeting will follow the usual format. Apologies for absence, declarations of interest by the committee members, and this evening we have one speaker who so far seems to be having problems unmuting himself. So hopefully Mr. Sajan will be able to join the meeting when he will be allowed to speak for 3 minutes.
Yeah, can I just interrupt? Apologies.
Please do.
We have somebody who's come in. Is that Councillor Beattie on the Galaxy device?
Yes, I think. Yes.
Right.
Yes, it is.
Thank you, Chair.
Do we have any apologies for absence? Councillor Addison.
I've just had a call, Chair, from Councillor Latter. He can't access the meeting.
Thank you very much. And do we have any declarations of interest for this one item on the agenda, please? Councillor Dady.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't mention this, it's probably not needed, but I have quite often been a customer at the shop in question previously. But I think erring on the side of caution, I'll just mention that obviously I have to go somewhere else for my dry cleaning now.
Absolutely. Thank you. Right. The minutes of the previous meeting. Do we have any comments, or can I have confirmation of them that they are correct record of the previous meeting? Councillor Sims, are you? Can you unmute yourself, please? Councillor Sims?
Yes, I'm happy to propose the minutes as a true record.
And Councillor Isles, do you second that?
Seconded.
Do we do an individual for this, Paul? No, just all those in favour, raise your hands, please. All those against? All those abstaining? I think the minutes are carried. We go now to the first item on the agenda, which the officers concerned will give us a presentation. And then if Mr. Sajan joins us, we will ask him to do his by then, and then the councillors will be able to ask their questions. So can I ask whichever officer is going to do this one, please, for application number 20/00160/DPA, the change of use from laundry use class 1 to a hot food takeaway use class A5. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I'm going to ask my colleague Fajana to present this item. Thank you. Fajana.
Thank you, Edward. Thank you, Chair. Good evening, everyone. So we have 20/00160/DPA application for this committee. This is a change of use application for 14 New Post Office Square. This has come to the committee due to the number of objections we have received. Planning consent is sought to change use from a laundry shop to a hot food takeaway with some external alterations. For members' information, from 1st of September 2020, use class A1 is replaced by new use class E, and use class A5 uses become sui generis. So this is the location plan, which shows the subject unit is accessible from the pedestrian area of the new post office square. The unit is currently vacant, and the last use was a laundry shop. Next slide, please. This is the existing shop front. Next slide, please. So this is the photograph taken from the southwest corner of the shop, which also shows the side elevation of the unit. Next slide, please. So from this slide, you can see the existing elevations of the unit, the front, rear, and side. Next slide, please. This is the proposed elevations for the front, rear, and side elevation. The existing shop front will be replaced by full-length door and windows. No other alteration has been proposed. Next slide, please. So the key determining issues are principle of development, design and appearance, neighboring amenity, and highway safety. In terms of principle of development, policy 12 of joint core strategies proposals for change of use or redevelopment within primary shopping areas, if the proposal adds to the attractiveness of the center and does not lead to the predominance of A1 retail use being critically undermined. Evidence have been provided in support of the application, which meets the requirements of policy 12 and will bring back the vacant unit into use. In terms of design and appearance, the external alterations are considered minimal and therefore acceptable from a design perspective. In terms of impact on the neighboring amenity, environmental health officer was consulted. Initially, the officer recommended refusal on the ground of insufficient information. Further information was submitted by the applicant and reconsultation was carried out. The environmental health officer confirms removal of the objection subject to planning conditions related to contamination, noise, odor, and hours of operation. No objection has been raised by the highways officer. However, recommended one planning condition for operational vehicles. So the recommendation is for approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone from Brettway Designs? Or who is SGIOC Peterborough?
I didn't actually let those in.
Chair, I let them in. I didn't know if the gentleman from Brettway was trying to get in through some of the systems. So, but they're on mute, but there's obviously no response.
Chair, I would
Hello.
call.
Hello.
Hello. Is that Mr.
Can you hear me?
Sujat?
Yes, is that Mr. Sajan?
Yes, speak. Yes, yeah. My computer has some trouble, so just I am using my mobile at the moment.
Right. We have just gone through the planning application, and
Right.
you have 3 minutes for you to speak, and then the officers will not the officers, the councillors will then make have a discussion and make their decision. So
Right.
if you just bear with me 1 second, because I wasn't sure whether you were coming. And as soon as you start to speak, I will time you. You have 3 minutes. Off you go. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation. So we have submitted all documents and supported like drawings and design access and all details we submitted to support the application, and according to our client side and my side. So they are actually trying for this application from last 10 months, because this empty, the property is more than a year at the moment. So they are paying the rental side from more than a year at the moment. Still they are struggling to get it to start something. So at the moment, they found last year the possibility of takeaway. So that's what we plan to go through that one. So that's the main reason we submitted the application. And firstly, we approached the estate agency. So they took nearly two to 3 months. Then after that, we submitted to the planning department. So if you are going to be permission approval, planning approval would be great. So my client is honestly, they are struggling too much especially for this property, and as well it's empty from 1 year. Better to get some business. That area looks good as well, and getting a trading is important, especially this commercial area. So people every day, whenever I go there, people is asking me individually. They are asking when it's going to start, or what is your business. So we all are waiting for that. We are very interested to see the new business over there. So it's always I can see that, because I have been very often I'm going there to get some other informations, and sometimes your department is asking some more information. So I am going to collect it as well. So on behalf of my client. So I request my side, in my view, my experience, I'm in this field more than 10 years. I'm doing RKM and this commercial and domestic renovation side and new build designs and extension alterations. So my view is better. Is if you can do the permission, that would be more grateful, and it will be appreciated. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you for sticking to the 3 minutes. Councillors, you may not comment anymore unless we ask you to. Thank you. Do I have any questions or queries? Councillor Dady?
Yes, thank you. I'll just lower my hand. There we are. Yeah, it's more, I wanted something to be noted particularly. In terms of my work with local plan, obviously I'm familiar with the designations for different buildings and what we would aspire to see in the town centre. And it is a concern of mine to take away shops in order to have more takeaways when perhaps there's quite a lot already. It's not enough of a concern for me to object to it, because I obviously trust the officer's recommendation, but I did just want it to be noted that it is a slight concern of mine.
Thank you, Councillor Dady. Do I have any other comments from anybody else? Councillor Watt.
Thank you. We've had comments about numbers of other takeaway establishments there. How many other takeaway establishments are there? I know that we have other shopping precincts in the town that have, a high predominance of takeaway establishments there, and they seem to survive.
Thank you, Councillor Watt. Councillor Addison.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like a little bit more information on how they intend to deal with their waste, because from observation around the back of Everest or in Everest Lane, it can get very messy there with waste spilling out onto the pathway. And also there is people living above those shops. It's the potential of odours, Chair, and how they intend to deal with that.
Thank you. Fajana, do you want to come back on this?
Yes, Chair. In terms of councillor's question, the first question on how many takeaways are there, we do not have the exact count, but the applicant have carried out a manual count on the A1 use class, how many A1 use classes on that building, on that parade. So they have counted 12 units altogether. So the loss of just one A1 retail unit will not undermine the predominance of the A1 retail use class. This was presented in front of local plans officers for evidence, as an evidence. And they are convinced with this, but we don't have the count for the takeaways, how many takeaways are there. And in terms of the second question, I would like to point you to the conditions 7, 8, 9, and condition 11, which deals with the odor, noise, and refuse. So the applicant will be submitting the scheme of odor control, noise control, and refuse control. And so this will be controlled in this manner, basically.
Thank you. Any further questions or come back on this from councillors? Any further questions? No. I must admit, you both actually asked what I was interested in. Would anyone like to move this application? Councillor Watt, do you want to move this one? Or do you want a question? Yes. Do I have a second?
Yeah.
Councillor Sims, seconded. And I'll go through you one by one and ask you if you are for or against this. So, Councillor Watt?
For.
Councillor Dalziel?
For.
Councillor Isles?
For.
Councillor Brown?
For.
Councillor Sims?
For.
Councillor Ferguson?
For.
Councillor Dady?
For.
Councillor Addison?
For.
Councillor Beattie?
For.
And Councillor Riley, myself, for. So this application has been approved. Thank you very much, councillors. And that concludes the evening's meeting. We don't seem to have any other items on the agenda. This is where I normally say, have a safe journey home, but I don't think many of you will be. And just enjoy the rest of your evening, and thank you for coming tonight. Thank you very much.